What do you do when the entire world is moving in one direction, and God calls you to walk alone in the opposite way? Before the ark, before the animals, before the rainbow, there was a man living in a generation that had forgotten God. And his name was Noah. A world gone wrong. Genesis tells us something sobering. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. Genesis 6 verse 5. Violence filled the earth. Corruption spread through society. Humanity, created in God's image, had drifted far from its purpose. And then Scripture says something that should make us pause. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. This is not indifference. It is grief. The Creator looks at his creation and sees distortion, cruelty, and brokenness. But in the middle of that darkness, one name stands out. Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. A righteous man. Noah is described as righteous and blameless among the people of his time. Not perfect, but faithful. He walked with God in a generation that did not. Imagine the isolation, the quiet integrity, the daily choice to live differently. God speaks to Noah with an unbelievable command: build an ark. A massive vessel, large enough to survive a flood that would cover the earth. There is no recorded debate. No argument. Just obedience. Hebrews later tells us that Noah built the ark in holy fear. He trusted a warning about something that had never happened before. For years, maybe decades, he builds. Hammer after hammer. Board after board. While the world around him continues as usual. Faith often looks like perseverance when no one else understands. The storm. Then the rain comes. The fountains of the deep burst open. The skies pour down. The earth that once felt stable becomes chaotic. Everything outside the ark is swallowed by water. This is not just a natural disaster. It is judgment. A reset. A painful cleansing of a world consumed by violence. But inside the ark, life is preserved. Noah and his family. Creatures of every kind. Seeds of the future. For 40 days and nights, the rain falls. For months, the waters remain. And then, one of the most tender phrases in Genesis appears. But God remembered Noah. Not because God had forgotten, but because God was about to act. The waters recede. The ark comes to rest. A new beginning rises from destruction. A new beginning. When Noah steps onto dry ground, his first act is not farming. Not building. Not planning. He worships. He builds an altar and offers sacrifice to the Lord. The first response to survival is gratitude. God then makes a covenant, not only with Noah but with all living creatures. He promises never again to destroy the earth by flood. And he places a rainbow in the sky as a sign. The rainbow becomes a reminder that judgment does not cancel mercy. That God restrains his wrath with promise. Through Noah, humanity is preserved. The story continues. Hope survives. Noah's humanity. But Genesis does not present Noah as flawless. After the flood, he plants a vineyard. He becomes drunk. He lies uncovered in his tent. Even the righteous man has weakness. This detail matters. Noah was faithful. He was obedient. But he was still human. The flood washed away corruption from the earth, but it did not remove sin from the human heart. The problem was deeper than environment. It was internal. And yet, God's commitment to humanity remains. What Noah means for us. Noah represents perseverance in a corrupt culture. He shows us that righteousness is possible even when it is rare. That obedience may feel lonely, but it is never unseen. He reminds us that faith often requires action before evidence. Building before rain. Trusting before understanding. Noah also shows us that new beginnings are possible. That even when judgment falls, mercy can follow. And perhaps most importantly, he reveals that God grieves over evil, but does not abandon his creation. Closing reflection. Noah lived in a world filled with violence and confusion. He chose faith. He built when no one else believed. He trusted when no one else listened. He obeyed when no one else cared. And through that obedience, humanity was preserved. The storm came. The waters rose. But the promise endured. Noah's story reminds us that even when the world feels unstable, even when darkness seems overwhelming, one life of faith can become the bridge to a new beginning. And when the storms of our own lives pass, may we step out like Noah and choose worship over fear, gratitude over bitterness, and trust over despair.